concede a defeat, but they have virtually, conceded that it's all over as far as the BJP's campaign in Bengal is concerned, given that some of the very, very prominent candidates, and that was the shocking factor for them, did not, of course, go past the finishing line, which includes, of course, Shopan Dasgupta, Loki Chatterjee, Babul Supriyo, as well. Some of these very prominent candidates that they brought into the contest, hoping that it would show that they have given it their all in this campaign. That didn't happen, of course, at the...
So we have over here the election intelligence dashboard, which shows you the trends from West Bengal. Trinamool Congress down only 4 seats from its epic 2016 victory. This is as big a victory. In fact, in terms of vote share, they're now at about 48.5. That's 3% plus. Okay. And I want to play at this time.
We'll wait.
What the epic last words?
No,
you want to play that as we introduce Prashant Kishore?
Okay, let's play Prashant Kishore's. First of all, joining us is the man of the match or one of the many men of the match. There's a woman of the match, of course, in Mamata Banerjee. Joining us now is the man of the match, and he's sweating a bit.
Why is he sweating? He's got the whole BJP sweating. He's cleaning his own sweat at this time.
Prashant Kishore, welcome to the show. You can give us a broad smile. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's start.
Thank you.
Let's start with where Rahul was about to take off, which is that you told him in an interview that if the BJP got more than 100 seats, you would quit this entire political strategy that you do, the political strategy management business. Was that overconfidence, bluster, or did you know something that none of us knew at that moment? What is it that made you so confident that the BJP wouldn't cross 100?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I must tell Rahul and your viewers that I will quit any which way. So I will quit, I will cease to do what I have been doing until now. It's just that I'm glad God has been kind that I'm quitting. I'm able to quit after the victory and after being proven right that BJP will not cross 100.
1 minute, you're saying you're never going to do this again. You will never again advise anyone to, you will never again run or advise anyone for a campaign.
No, I would cease to exist in the form and the manner in which world knows and sees me, and they understand. They call it political strategy, some call it political management, whatever they want to call it. I call myself as a political aid to the leaders who have chosen to work with me. I will cease to exist.
Can I just say, Prashant, maybe this is because you're really tired right now. You've been going crazy.
So because Rahul
yes, Prashant.
Rahul, Rahul was so apprehensive that whether I will stay true to what I have been claiming, that if BJP were to cross 100, I will quit this space. He would simply not believe. And I would not find fault with him, but like any other person would not believe. I am telling that even after being proved right, I will cease to do what
Why are you giving this space up? It's such a big victory. Why are you giving up this space? 2 big victories. You're the man who's shown he has the Midas touch.
Because this is not what I have ever wanted to do all my life. I have done my bit. IPAC has got very able people, my colleagues, the senior colleagues at IPAC. They are far more capable than me. And I'm very confident that they will be able to do a better job than me. I should take a break and try out my hand at something else.
So, karoge kya? Basically, I know your heart is in Bihar politics. Now you're already out of the JDU, so I'm kind of confused. If you want to go back to Bihar politics, you don't have a party which is your base. Karoge kya about?
Rahul, you have to give me some time to think about it. Earlier you said that I will not quit even if BJP will cross 100. Now I'm telling I will quit. Then you are saying what you will do. I will do something. Give me some time, I'll figure it out.
Kuch to aapne socha hoga na. You can't take such a big decision, announce it on TV without having thought this through. So you obviously thought something through. What is it? Tell us.
No, I have been thinking of quitting since long. It's just that I haven't had a good opportunity to quit. So Bengal became
I'll tell you what,
that moment where I said, okay, win or loss, I must quit.
I'll tell you what, you're doing what the great cricketer Vijay Merchant said and Sunil Gavaskar said. Always quit when people say why rather than why not. So you're saying people are going to ask you, why is Prashant quitting when you're at, when all seems to be going smoothly? But again, to persist from what Rahul said, if you're quitting and saying, I'm not going to do this kind of work, there could be other, you could continue in politics. There's this huge buzz that you want to try and become a successful politician, especially in your home state of Bihar. Is that what you've been thinking about toying with?
See, joining politics has always been on the radar. I have been in politics also, and I must confess that I failed. So even if I were to join politics, I must go back, reassess what I know and what I don't know, what I need to do better, and then take a decision. But that decision has not been taken right now. The decision which I have taken is right now is the time when I should hand over the baton to those who have been working with me for the last 4 or 5 years. They have done tremendous job. I come on the camera, people talk about PK, people talk about me, but actual work is done by my colleagues. I must give it to them. And there could not be a better time for me to hand over the organization to somebody else.
Are you doing a clubhouse chat tonight?
Well, if someone invites me, I don't think people are very interested in inviting me in clubhouse or otherwise. If people invite me, I'm very happy to do any chat which is
take us,
to be done.
so we'll leave, we'll park your...
No, one more thought, one more on this, because, there is a buzz. You've been, you've been given what, officer on special duty or some kind of cabinet rank in Punjab to Amrinder Singh, with whom you worked, Captain Amrinder Singh, with whom you worked for in 2017. There's buzz in Rajasthan that you are doing some work for Ashok Gehlot. Is this all true, not true? What is the buzz?
Well, Rajdeep, you are experienced enough to know that if you help someone win the election, it is nothing if they offer you a principal advisor or some job. They would always like you to be by their side because it suits them. It is for me to decide whether I want to do that or not. Right now, I'm telling you on record that I quit this space and I'm not doing this kind of work for anybody.
I think the stress is getting to you. Because you've been going back and forth, Chennai, Kolkata, 1 o'clock flight, 2 o'clock flight, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock landing. Is it just that you need some time? You need to go to the Maldives once this thing gets over, spend time with your family, go wherever else you want and get a breather. Is that really what you want?
I definitely want to go back and spend time with my wife, my son, that's there, but definitely not to Maldives. These are not the times to go to Maldives. But whatever I'm able to do, taking a break is on the card, but not because I'm very tired. I always wanted to quit this space on a time when I'm not accused of running away or not handing it over at the right time. I think this is the right time for me to hand over to others.
Okay, so we'll park your own semi-retirement or retirement from election campaign management for a moment to get into this election. Explain what we don't know.
Rahul, I must take this 1 minute of yours. You told me that right-wing trolls are going to make your life miserable because BJP will cross 100 and you will not quit. I am telling, please gift it to them that I have quit this space. They should continue to troll.
So let's play that comment. Those are famous last words. Let's play that out. We have that comment. हमने तैयार रखा है. Prashant Kishore, आप सुनो भी उसको. This is what Prashant Kishore said when we met him in Kolkata, where he announced that he would give up politics or he would give up this political space if the BJP crossed 100 seats. Here is Prashant Kishore.
So you're saying that the BJP is playing mind games? You've been playing some number games of your own. You put out a tweet saying that if the BJP gets 3 digits,
yes,
you will give up politics?
Yeah, I will give up this space, meaning
what
I
does
will
that mean? You will give up Twitter?
No, I will give up the work which I do.
And what will you do if the BJP gets 3 digits?
I will not do the work which I am doing. I will quit this space.
You are serious about it?
Absolutely serious.
Be careful about what you are saying.
Yahi bite baar-baar chalegi. Please, if you will play this bite, only if I continue doing this work ever, if BJP gets more than 100 seats.
So you got that spot on, Prashant Kishore. The question is, what enabled it? What, according to you, enabled Didi to cross 200 as she has at the moment and the BJP less than 100? What was that X factor?
Well, Rajdeep, as you know, it's not that we are any wiser or we had a crystal ball, but the assessment was based on certain things on the ground, what we were seeing. BJP did not, to my mind, did not factor in the changes that Didi undertook post her quote-unquote setback during Lok Sabha, and they were still living with that same premise that because the mistakes, whatever she made in Lok Sabha, she will continue to make those mistakes, and they went on with the same premise without factoring in the changes, and hence they were caught unaware and caught unguarded, to my mind.
What was the change?
All that Didi has done both on the political side. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that all what was done on the political side or on the governmental side, unfortunately those who cover elections or those who report on elections, they are least bothered about those things. So no one has talked about Didi Ke Bolo and 45 lakh people calling and telling her what they were upset with or what they would like her to do. No one has reported extensively about Dware Sarkar, in which her government reached out and delivered to 2.87 crore people individual or household benefits. No one has talked about Paray Samadhan, where 10,000 habitations were identified, what the problem they were facing, and we tried to address as many as possible. No one has given much importance to the fact that those who were leaving Trinamool were actually the rotten eggs. I dare say this, they were the rotten eggs, and those who were picking, in this case BJP were picking those rotten eggs and feeling very good about it. And media was amplifying it as if Trinamool is collapsing without realizing that Trinamool was cleaning its house. They had kept the garbage outside, and you came and you took all that garbage in your party. Now you see, you pay the price.
You're using very strong.
Trinamool have gone to BJP. Most of them have lost the elections.
You're using very strong words: garbage, rotten eggs. Clearly, absolutely, they have been, most of them, if you do individual check, the people who have left Trinamool, I'm saying most, not all, most of them were the ones who we found were the turning out to be big liability for the party, either because of their corruption, either because of their muscle man imagery, or what they were doing or not doing as public representatives. Or in some cases, they were hobnobbing with BJP. So if they were pushed out, media was feeling as if Trinamool is collapsing. But you see the result. Those who went on the other side and quote-unquote were presented to the world as the game changers, as the big men and women who had the sway with the voters, they have turned out to be nothing but zero.
Not just has the Trinamool
their own MLA seats
been able to win West Bengal,
and I must be humble enough to say that it's not that all what we have done is right. In our victory, we must have done many mistakes. The victory does not make us wiser or intelligent than others. But to my mind, BJP was just living in the air. They just believed that their journey, which they started 4 or 5 years back, which was a credible effort on their part, they got the benefit in Lok Sabha. They did not pause and looked at the fact that, oh, if Trinamool does some course correction, what all they need to do. They just thought that it will continue on the same path. So and I've seen this happening with them in 2015 in Bihar as well.
Before Rahul
BJP
jumps in,
such a big machinery, such a big shape, that it takes a lot of effort on their part to do course correction. They just go in unidirectional. If those who are challenging them, if they do course correction, BJP, I haven't found the BJP present leadership very nimble in correcting their strategy. And that is where probably they have got it wrong.
Very interesting. What you're saying is the BJP was still in a 2019 mindset where they were playing the politics of Narendra Modi as the prime ministerial candidate, or playing an element of Muslim appeasement, questioning Mamata Banerjee's handling of the Panchayat polls of 2018 violence. You claim Mamata Banerjee course corrected and the BJP continued to play the same Hindu-Muslim narrative or the same Bhaipo narrative, attacking Abhishek Banerjee, corruption, and Mamata course corrected. Am I correct? Broadly, that's what you're claiming. And the BJP is not nimble enough to change.
I give you an they are not nimble enough, yes. They might be very smart, very experienced, but I give you an example. The Jai Sri Ram, the way they used in Lok Sabha and the dividend it paid to them, they continue to use Jai Sri Ram, but Didi did not make the same mistake what she would have done in Lok Sabha. So if you are not nimble enough and you are still thinking that it will pay you the same dividend, this is what will happen to you.
Not just as the Trinamool won PK in West Bengal, the party has been able to increase its vote share by about 3.5% according to the latest trends that have come in. How did you make this possible? Because the BJP's big hope was that by being able to engineer a subaltern, lower caste, Dalits, tribal, Hindu polarization, they'd be able to beat the Muslim-dominated Trinamool Congress. You've been able to prevent that from happening. How?
But I told you when I spoke to you, and I also had an opportunity to speak to Rajdeep, I told you the same thing, that Bengal election is bipolar. So BJP's whole hypothesis that the third front or somebody will come and cut the Muslim vote is completely not true. The second thing is the majority vote. There is a limit to the polarization. Everyone talks about polarization and then they give up that Hindus are completely polarized, hence they are going to vote for BJP. We looked at hard data and we have been telling this again and again that in the most polarized situation, you cannot expect to get more than 55% of the community. It holds true for Hindu, it holds true for Muslim. So that leaves us 45% of the Hindu vote. And we concentrated on that 45%. In my so-called clubhouse chat, I have been telling this, that Dalits are voting for them. But the recognition of the fact that Dalits were with BJP made us do very extensive outreach both on the government side and the political side to take as much as we could. So even if I took 30-35% Dalits back, it's a vote added to my kitty.
No, but I don't agree with what you're saying because neighboring, very close to West Bengal is Assam, where the BJP has been able to achieve the kind of Hindu polarization that you're saying is not possible. That is exactly why, apart from their development and effort, other effort they made.
In Assam, they are facing Congress. There is a huge difference between when you are facing Congress and when you are facing...
What is the difference?
Rahul, let me push him on that. You've made an important point because Rahul and I have been discussing this for the last couple of days. It is easier for the BJP to take on the Congress, whether at state or national elections, certainly national elections, than take on a regional party. Is that a message you think, and you've worked with several regional leaders now and Congress leaders, also. Is that the big difference between working with, say, a Jagan Mohan Reddy or a Mamata Banerjee and indeed the Congress which you worked with in Uttar Pradesh, yes, to some extent in Punjab as well, that the regional leaders are more willing to fight for every last inch of space than the Congress?
It is not about national leaders or regional leaders. It is about willingness to accept that there is something that is wrong within my setup or my working and make a sincere effort, which sometimes can pay and sometimes it might not pay. But willingness to do the course correction. If, say for example, Lok Sabha results, Mamata Banerjee got the setback, quote unquote. In her victory of 22 MPs and BJP won 18, she was scared, she took help, she did, it's not about Prashant Kishore. She must have recognized that she need to do something different. Now, what did Congress do? Congress got the probably same or the worst number everywhere in the country. Did they do anything? If Didi would have got up 15 days before the Bengal election, do you think she would have been able to get this result?
No, so is it their ability,
she could have still lost. She could have still...
Is it their ability to course correct or their ability to be more locally rooted? Is it their local rootedness? There's a sense that Didi connects to the people of Bengal in a way that high command national party leaders may not connect in state elections. There's a feeling that if Didi, for example, tried to become, had prime minister ambition, she may not succeed. But in Bengal, she's suited to the local milieu. That's where regional leaders have an advantage over so-called national leaders. Is that true?
No, Rajdeep. It holds true in every walk of the life. If you have a problem, you have to first accept that there is a problem. So long you don't accept, you talk to many Congress leaders, they would still say that, we are good, there is nothing wrong. They're just like waiting for things to happen for them. I'm nobody to comment about Congress. They are very smart people, they are wise, experienced, they're a 100-year-old party. Who am I to advise Congress? All I'm trying to say is that those who want to take on BJP, they have to fight it. If you don't fight, where is the chance for you fight? Then you can win or you can lose. Every time you fight, you will not win. But at least you will fight. I see in some cases, or in many cases, Congress is not even fighting as much as they should or they could.
What, according to you, PK, are the mistakes made by the BJP during this election campaign that you were able to capitalize on? If you were to look back and say, okay, here are the mistakes they made, and this is how I capitalized on them.
They did not take cognizance of the changes that was happening in Trinamool, in the leadership of Mamata Banerjee, the way she have governed, or the changes she has brought on the political side. Trinamool in last 1.5 years has completely, not 100%, but to a large degree, they have changed their leadership, the district leadership, their block leadership. They have changed their style of functioning. They have changed the way they organize themselves for the elections, the way they respond to the communication or other challenges that BJP brings to the table. They have done all those things. I must keep on repeating, despite doing all these things, we could have very well lost the election. But you would not find fault in her not making an effort. That is the difference between her and probably some of the players who have lost out. And there is no point for a political party to keep on saying that I'm not winning because media is not with me, I don't have resources, system is completely against me. Everything was against us in Bengal as well.
What was against?
Have to accept that media will not be with you.
What
you have
was
to
against?
Accept that election commission will side with BJP.
Are you telling me you believe the election commission sided with the BJP? Are you telling me that you believe that this was Didi versus all? Because the Congress also was taking her on?
Absolutely in the victory of Trinamool, I must tell you, because if I would have lost and told this same thing, you and your viewers would have said that I'm grieving because I have lost. I have never ever seen a more partial election commission than what is happening today. All political parties must come together and put pressure on election commission to reform itself, whether it is the use of religion, whether it is the scheduling, whether it is the way the laws are applied to both sides. It's completely partial. Never ever we have lived through the hell in last 1 month when the state has been under election commission. They have done everything to help BJP win. Make no mistake, I'm telling it on record. They can charge me for making these allegations. They have been working as the extension of BJP.
This is a very this is huge.
Specific?
You're saying that
I want you to be more specific,
okay,
Prashant, on this.
Sorry.
Explain with anecdotal evidence what you've experienced or seen which makes you believe that the election commission, from the scheduling to the manner in which the election was conducted, you believe was partial and biased in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Boss, just take the scheduling of the election. 8 rounds in the pandemic time. What made you do this? Only because you wanted to give more opportunity to the BJP leaders to come and campaign, because in your own words, you have said it that they are the best players in the slog overs. So before every 5 or 10 or 20 or 30 constituency went for poll, you wanted to give maximum possible time to the Prime Minister and the Home Minister and a whole host of other leaders who wanted to come and campaign aggressively for BJP. In the middle of the election, and forget about that, even if I say, okay, it was in the name of law and order, tell me in your experience of covering election in last so many years, when a district was carved out in 4 phases, one district, just because that district was supposedly seen as a Trinamool's stronghold, that district polled in 4 phases. Why did it happen? It's just because you wanted to have these 4 seats, 5 seats, 10 seats, so that there is no momentum in favor of Trinamool. All the first phase or second phase, is it the coincidence that bulk of the seats which BJP won, hear me out, is it the coincidence that bulk of the seats which BJP won in Lok Sabha went for poll early? Is it the coincidence? And who are they trying to fool? Who are they trying to fool? In the COVID times, they have exposed millions of people to this virus just because they could not say no to BJP.
You know, you're making a very serious, you're making a very serious charge, which you're trying to substantiate with evidence that the EC was an extension of the BJP. But interestingly,
Rajdeep,
yeah, go ahead.
Rajdeep, you have covered election long enough. Tell me one incident where one district has polled in 4 rounds. 4 rounds. Chaubish South has polled in 4 rounds. Just because BJP has not won a single seat there. I'll give you another example. To the best of my understanding, use of religion is prohibited during the campaigning. You have covered election in Bengal. If this was not use of religion, tell me what else would constitute use of religion for the voting purposes. It has been the blatant use of religion, Jai Sri Ram, or Bharat Mata, or Om, or the flags. I have seen more flags of Om and Bhagwa than the BJP flags on the ground.
No,
have you seen Election Commission doing anything about it? These are the serious issues.
Sure.
Who wins, who loses doesn't matter. Tomorrow we can lose.
You're sounding like a politician now, Prashant, already.
What are you doing?
You're making the transition. You're making the transition to being.
I'm not sounding like a politician.
No, but you've got a very strong case. I think there's a genuine feeling. No. Let me be clear. There's a genuine feeling that the EC is
Why don't you call an election commission? Why don't you call election commissioners and ask them for them to give one solid reason why they did 8-round election in Bengal?
Okay. I just want to ask you. Okay, we will certainly question the election commission. We've been trying to do so, but I want to ask you, Prashant, that 8-phase election, strangely enough, when I look at the numbers, actually the TMC got the momentum by round 5, 6, 7, 8. If I look at these numbers, you've swept. What explains that? Was it just the strongholds were coming later, or that COVID came around the middle of April and changed the election narrative?
No. I'm so glad that we have done equally well in round 1 and round 2, round 3, round 4 as well, so that this whole bogey of COVID, we lost because of COVID, is not going to hold. I must tell you, people have decided, this 48-49% is what we have been getting in all our polls in last 6-7 months. I'm not an idiot to come on television, as you are saying that I'm making a transition to become a leader. No, as a professional, I have been on record saying that Trinamool is going to get, BJP will not get 100. Because in all our polls, since November, December, after Duare Sarkar, I have been finding 8 to 10% gap between BJP and Trinamool. And what I was claiming was based on solid data. The problem is, I'm available.
Was that women? Was that the women?
No one is going to go and ask Amit Shah. No, hold on. No one is going to ask Amit Shah that on what basis he was making a claim of 200 seats. Not only 200 seats. After every round, he gave a specific number. After every round of poll, he said, after 2 rounds, BJP is winning 48 seats. After 4th round, we are winning 122 seats. As if he has the crystal ball. What makes you think that anyone can call that 122 seats? He's not saying 120 to 125. He's saying, after 4 rounds, I'm winning 122 seats. And people are made to believe that, including the journalists.
Prashant, just 1 minute. When you say that, that you were confident on your data, was it, as you said, majority of a minority and minority of a majority, or was it also what I see as an important factor, the Mahila factor? This is what I saw. Women tend to vote more with Mamata. They identify with her. Was that a key factor?
It's a combination of things. If I give you the hard data which we have been polling, 70% minorities, 70-75% minorities have been voting for Trinamool, irrespective of what ISF is doing, Jot is doing, or some other fringe elements have been trying to do. As far as Hindus are concerned, BJP in their strong areas, they have been polling 50 to 55%, and 40 to 45% Hindus have been voting for Trinamool. And that is why I have been telling that there is a limit to the polarization which ends around 55%. This is not only in Bengal. You can go back in history in last 10, 15, 20 years, analyze data yourself, and you will figure it out that state after state, election after election, BJP has not been able to get, or for that matter any party, more than 50% of one community. In UP, they get 40% vote. Hindus are 80%. That means they are getting 50% of the total Hindu vote. It's rather simple, but no one wants to look at it. You are saying polarization means all 70% Hindu has voted for BJP or are going to vote for BJP. Now, how can I help you if you are not willing to look at it?
Okay, so you were challenging and questioning Amit Shah, the Home Minister and the former BJP President, and you deny it, and so does he. But there is a bit of a grudge match.
I'm not challenging or questioning Amit Shah. I'm expecting that some of you who wanted to hold me accountable for my proclamation of BJP 100 seat must find courage to ask some of the BJP leaders if not Amit Shah.
No, Rahul. Prashant, 1 minute. Prashant, in an interview that I did with him, he had said that, why do you question me?
I want to see an interview. No, Rajdeep, I'm saying I want to see an interview with any one of you, with Amit Shah ji, where you are grilling him that why did you say, on what basis you said. You are asking me and I'm answering you.
पक्का guarantee जैसे आपसे पूछा उनसे भी पूछेंगे.
Because it is not the first time he has done it.
No, but what, you know,
नहीं पूछेंगे भाई.
Sure, पूछेंगे. No, you're making very important. Are you saying that Amit Shah was fooling was trying to create a mahal that the BJP is winning, even though he knew they were not? Or do you think he himself was convinced? Because you've seen the BJP at close quarters and the Modi Shah, or the so-called Mo Shah game. Were they trying to convince the journalists coming from Delhi, in particular, ki ek hawa bana do?
See, I cannot say that. I don't want to attribute motive. Whether he was making a genuine mistake because he was wrong in his assessment, or whether he was doing it knowing that it is not the truth, in both cases, he is right in what he was doing. I'm not questioning him. I'm questioning the journalists. I have said this in my interview with you. There is no harm in you telling that Amit Shah claims 200 seats and Mamata Banerjee claims 200 seats. But the problem starts when you say Amit Shah ne kaha, matlab BJP ko to 200 aa raha hai. Bhai, Amit Shah's assessment or proclamation it should be open for scrutiny as much as.
अरे पर आपका भी तो दिखाया जब आपने बोला 100 से ज्यादा नहीं आएंगी इतना तो आपका भी दिखाया.
No, the point, Rahul, is did we did we get carried away?
भाई राहुल जी आपको पता है मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ.
नहीं मेरे को नहीं पता क्योंकि आपका भी हमने दिखाया उनका भी दिखाया. आप बोल रहे हो कि 100 से कम आएंगी बीजेपी वाले बोल रहे दिखाते हैं उसको. अब तो आप जीत गए. That's a different matter. But the fact is, whether you like it or not, this is a grudge match, and today you won a grudge match and you have full bragging rights. That's the reality. Jo jeeta wahi Sikandar. Today Prashant Kishore is Sikandar.
No, you are not understanding me. If you think it's a grudge match, you are not understanding me. All I'm saying is I could have been on the losing side. There's no two way about it. I'm not claiming to be more smarter than anybody else. I'm saying as a media, when it's not that he has made this claim first time in Bengal. He has made such claims in the past as well. I have no problem in you showing them that he is claiming it. I have problem when you start taking that as a voice coming from the God. Okay. And you are saying that how can Trinamool even fight because Amit Shah said that BJP is winning 200. That is the problem.
Okay, let's look, you've seen this big victory today. What does this do to national politics? Because you made an interesting point during our interviews where you said if the BJP wins, it will confirm a one nation, one party narrative, the so-called Ashwamedh Yagna, those are my words, will move ahead. Do you think that this halts the BJP's juggernaut? Or do you accept that the BJP remains the dominant parties and only rooted regional leaders can take them on? Whether it's a Pinarayi Vijayan in Kerala or whether it's a Mamata Banerjee today in Bengal.
Well, I wouldn't call it a major challenge to BJP at national level. They will remain a very dominant political force at national level. Why national? They will remain a very dominant force in Bengal as well. This is another point which I made. Unfortunately, in this country, we are reducing ourselves to the binaries where you have no scope for making any nuanced argument. BJP is a strong political force in Bengal and probably will remain a strong force. That does not mean that they are going to win all elections. BJP, just because Mamata Banerjee, they have lost Bengal, that does not mean that they are not going to be a strong political force or they are going to set their dominance at the national level. If they need to be they are to be challenged at national level, people have to find their act, they have to put their act together it's not going to happen on its own just because they have lost Bengal.
Let's switch attention.
एक और point ले लूं मैं राहुल इसी पे.
Dominance at national level will continue.
So are you saying that because Rahul and I have been discussing this, that national elections and state elections fought on very different narratives, and you know the BJP, we are finding that when they find state election with Mr. Modi not on the ticket, seem to go down compared to national elections. To that extent, would you say that winning Bengal doesn't mean that the BJP will be downsized in a general election? When Mr. Modi is on the ticket, he is still Neta number one. You worked with him. When it's a state election, the BJP needs to work on local factors, which they're not always successful at, as we saw today in Bengal.
Mr. Modi's being the candidate and his popularity or charisma is just one of the factors. The major factor is where is the alternative. You have to bring together an alternative which has got the face, which has got narrative, more than anything else, has got the fire in the belly to fight it out. That is much more important. If there is no competition, of course, the person who is there on the pedestal will continue to have the dominance.
You worked briefly with Rahul Gandhi. Does he have that fire in the belly? Do you believe the Congress also needs to they've actually been decimated in Bengal, and one of the reasons you've done well is, one of the many reasons is that the Congress votes seem to switch to the TMC. Do you believe that the Congress under Rahul Gandhi doesn't have the fire in the belly?
I am nobody, and no matter how many times you will ask me, I am nobody to comment on Rahul Gandhi. He is too big a person for me to comment. Who am I? All I am saying is, whether it's Rahul Gandhi, whether it's Congress, whether it's Didi or somebody else, you have to, there is no substitute of doing 24/7 the hard work and putting 2, 3, 4, 5 years effort to be able to challenge BJP, whether it is in a state or in national level. In Bengal, this has been done last 1 year and a half. Since June 2019, we are on it day in and day out. It has not been a 15-day or 1-month effort. So
You also fought
elections
in Tamil Nadu, Prashant, where the DMK currently leads on 136.
Yes.
Are you a bit disappointed with the fact that the DMK's victory in the end isn't quite as sweeping as you would have liked it to be? You've got a big victory here, but are you a little short of your expectation in Tamil Nadu?
Yes, this is another important point which we keep telling you. Remember, you asked me, is Bengal more tougher than, is Tamil Nadu easy? And what did I answer? No election is easy. You should not take it easy just because it is looking easy to you sitting in Delhi, or for that matter, Calcutta. Elections, wars, exams should never be taken serious, should never be taken lightly. DMK, those who were sitting and saying, it's, Tamil Nadu में क्या है, वो तो ऐसे sweep होने वाला है, वो तो कोई नहीं है, बस DMK को fight कर जाना है और उनको 2/3 majority आ जाएगी, नहीं आया ना. So every election has got its own nuances. You can be in a formidably, very strong position, and still the result could be short of your expectation or what you could have got.
No, but where do you think you fell short?
Tamil Nadu was never as easy as it was made to be.
So let's delve into this, because clearly E. Palanisamy seems to have given you a much bigger fright than you would have imagined. And maybe the magic of Stalin isn't quite all that it was made out to be, and over the next 5 years, Palanisamy will be able to keep Mr. Stalin on his toes.
I think if I have to, we have to wait for the final numbers, but if I have to pinpoint, of course it will take some time for us to assess what probably didn't go the way, what all did not go the way we would have liked it to be. One thing which I can look from the distance and say that we were probably defensive. DMK gave too many seats, even in this, despite our push, they give too many seats to the allies. The allies' strike rate would have been lesser. I have not looked at the number, but this is my hunch. The second thing is the changes that they need to bring in the party probably were not as many as we would have liked it to be.
You know,
because again, you are fighting election.
So let me ask you a direct question and a straight question, and I want to see, I know what you think of it, I want to see what you say on air. Do you think, Mr. Prashant Kishore, that the decision taken by your political client, the DMK, of having Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, the son of Mr. Stalin, contest on a DMK ticket was a mistake? Did it reinforce the dynastic tendencies and the perception around the DMK?
No, I don't think, I don't think that has been that big an issue. The issue has been DMK is an old party. It is a cadre-based party where Mr. Stalin has now taken over as a leader. He has been bringing change, but probably not enough to completely transform it. Probably, and I must take blame for it, that we were not aggressive enough, or in bringing all those changes in the systems, protocols, people who are responsible on the ground, as many changes as people were expecting DMK to do. To completely reform, rebrand, reposition the party. So some of the old legacies might have affected the overall outcome.
Already
But you have to also realize that when you are in position of MK Stalin, when you are, just if I can just conclude, if you are in position of Mr. MK Stalin, who are probably fighting your first election without your father or the leader of the party, you tend to be a little more defensive. It is relatively easier, was easier for Mamata Banerjee to be aggressive because he is an incumbent chief minister 10 years. When you have not been to that position, you try to be a little more cautious, and that might have affected the total number.
Very interesting that an incumbent, in a sense, it's easier to course correct with an incumbent than an anti-incumbent.
It's also down to personality. He's not saying it. It's down to the personality of the two
it could be, but Prashant Kishore, already your comments on the Election Commission are making waves. Everyone is putting it on Twitter saying Prashant Kishore is telling it like it is. I want to understand from you, since you're being so candid, that is that the big challenge you believe in elections now, that institutionally, because the BJP is so powerful, the opposition parties are fighting on various fronts, and had the Congress, for example, been in Didi's place, they would have run away. That it required someone like Mamata Banerjee's street fighter instincts to take on the system. Do you think that going ahead, resources with one party, institutional benefits that one party have, makes it that much more difficult unless you have that street fighter instinct?
You have to prepare yourself to fight as opposition. In Bengal, we have been telling every worker, every leader that make no mistake, when election comes, you will have to fight as if you are in opposition, because when election commission comes, it will be BJP, Bengal will come under the BJP rule. And actually that is what has happened, and we were prepared. So the larger point is, those who are trying to take on BJP, there is no point in cribbing about media not being with you, resources not being with you, election commission. Of course, efforts should be made towards bringing some balance on those fronts.
Right.
But as a political party, you have to fight knowing that these things are against you, because while their power, their interference, or their not being impartial plays a role, it cannot supersede the will of the people. Yes, if all these things would not have been there, maybe BJP number would have been down by another 20 seats. So 60 can become 80, but 60 cannot become 200, no matter how many times Election Commission helps you, no matter how much money you spend, no matter how many officers are working for you.
How do you see the result in Bengal impact the big election in West Bengal next year, in Uttar Pradesh next year?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I can't comment about what it will do to Uttar Pradesh. It will, at the country level, I do see it empowering little bit on the margin, I should say, to those who want to raise the voice, those who are able to say or wanting to say something which is wrong, which they see wrong in this system or the ruling dispensation in Delhi. Probably, my hope is that our victory in Bengal will give them some strength, and they will be able to raise voice. One Mamata Banerjee or Prashant Kishore or one victory in parts of India is not enough.
You don't see
force. They have to raise voice. They have to.
You don't see Mamata Banerjee becoming a magnet for these forces. Already she's being congratulated by Arvind Kejriwal, Sharad Pawar, Omar Abdullah. Do you see her becoming a magnet? Do you really see 2024 as some are already saying Mamata versus Modi? Or is that a mistake being made that in a way conflating a state verdict with a national verdict?
Big mistake. Big mistake. Anyone who thinks you have seen it, we have seen it, and big mistake that 10 different forces coming together will create one coherent political force is a big mistake. to the best of my understanding, it's not going to work. Whether it is, you make whoever is put as the core, whether it's Mamata Banerjee or somebody else, unless you have a one composite narrative going for you, unless you have a cohesive unit which is fighting as one unit, with a narrative, with a face, with an agenda, with the resources, with the, then just by 15 people calling you or joining hands or coming in a swearing in ceremony is not going to change things.
Is that, you know, you're talking about narrative, because one of those narratives that is now building up is the biggest challenge that Mr. Modi has faced, the country has faced in decades, which is COVID. Do you see COVID changing politics in this country, including electoral politics, where whoever is in government has to perform on handling COVID in an empathetic way, ensuring good governance? Will that be a big challenge for any government now? Pinarayi Vijayan has passed the test. Others may well pass the test in the future. Is that a bigger challenge than any? Will that change narratives?
Well, it could change the narrative, but Rajiv, again, I would say, in democracy, you need catalysts. The issues on their own are not enough for governments to go or come. Corruption was an issue. Till someone became a catalyst in form of India against corruption, it never became a political issue. It's not that what JP raised in 70s was not an issue before or after. But in democracy, you need politics, and that's why you need political leaders, that's why you need political parties, because they are to act as catalysts to channelize some of these people's opinion and thinking and issues, as we say, into popular mandate or mandate against somebody who is ruling. It will not happen on its own. And that's why we see...
You had a big victory. आपने बहुत serious बातें सारी कर ली. अब आपने मेरी थोड़ी बात रखनी है. My colleague Maushmi Singh is over there. I want you to do a जब we met with the heroic IPAC team. मैं सुन रहा हूँ आपके पीछे खूब म्यूजिक बज रहा है. अब मैं देखना चाहता हूँ ये म्यूजिक कौन बजा रहे हैं. आपके बंदे हमें वीडियो बना के दिखा रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं चाहता हूँ कि थोड़ा आप अपनी टीम के साथ एक जब भी मैट कीजिए, हल्का सा घूम के आइए, हमें भी दिखाइए म्यूजिक आईपैक के दफ्तर से कहाँ आ रहा है. लेट्स सी हाउ द आईपैक टीम इज सेलिब्रेटिंग.
They can
आप घुमाओ, आप मिलो अपनी टीम से, हम तो घूम ही लेंगे.
So no one is celebrating.
नहीं, आप थोड़ा सा घूम लो अपनी टीम के साथ, मिल लो.
But Maushmi can go, she can talk to people, your cameraman can go interview them.
Okay.
It's free, but because of COVID we have shut down and there are very few people who have come back just after the result. But by and large most people have been asked to go home.
अच्छा एक मिनट रुको, एक वो अमित शाह की बाइट भी आप सुन लो. We pulled out a bite. I don't know if we found the right bite or not. एक मिनट सुन लो. हमारे प्रोड्यूसर बड़े कीन है कि आपको सुनाते. हमने पहले भी पूछा था, फिर से भी पूछेंगे. एक बार आपको हम अमित शाह की बाइट सुनाते.
इसी तरह से चुनाव आगे बढ़ता रहा. भारतीय जनता पार्टी 200 से ज्यादा सीटों के साथ बंगाल में सरकार बनाएगी, इसका मुझे विश्वास है. भाजपा के सभी कार्यकर्ताओं का विश्वास है. आसाम में भी अभी जो सीटें हैं, इससे ज्यादा सीटों के साथ हम पूर्ण बहुमत की भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनाएंगे.
No, so he's basically saying next time you get an opportunity, ask him where those numbers went, and that question will be asked when the opportunity does come along.
Prashant Kishore, as we end, fascinating. You're saying you're retiring from this, but
I will say good luck to him.
Okay, people like you never retire. Yes. I want to know, are you going to, very quickly, was this the toughest election, or do you maintain that Punjab fighting AAP was tougher?
Punjab fighting up was tougher because
ऐसे ही बोलते हैं
knew.
Okay,
this is
I know BJP. I know BJP and I know how they fight.
Okay, you know BJP and you know how they fight. In conclusion, you've still left it ambiguous only on one point. What next? You know,
no, but
already people are asking me from Punjab, is Prashant going to be part of Captain Amrinder Singh's campaign or not? People are asking me, is Prashant forming a political party? Someone else is saying, please tell Prashant Kishore form a political party.
No, but somebody else messaged to say, you know, Prashant understands politics. He also understands the chance that a Brahman has in Bihar. If he goes to Bihar as a Brahman leader in Bihar, what chance? But that's the politics Prashant told us he wants to change. Because this whole idea of caste-based politics is what I remember when we met in Patna. You said you want to change. You want to respond to those who say a Brahman in Bihar has no chance?
Okay. Okay, if I choose to be in Bihar and whatever I choose to do, of course it will not be hidden, you will get to know, and then I will be equally open about discussing it on camera, no worries about it.
So you're not...
Right now, let's stick to Bengal.
So you're not... So it's not about a Rajya Sabha seat, you're looking for something bigger, you're hoping to play a role in public life, I'm correct? Am I correct? A role in public life.
If you know it, I'm saying you know it better than I know. If I would have wanting to go to Rajya Sabha or if I wanted to become someone's advisor, if I would have done it long back.
अच्छा, अब let's just walk around the IPAC office. अब आप हमारी मौसमी के साथ एक बार अपने ऑफिस का चक्कर लगा दो बस.
I will ask.
नहीं, आप साथ में चलो. मौसमी ले जाओ, पकड़ के ले जाओ. मौसमी, go do it.
So Rahul, I was talking to you. Yes, I was talking to you that Prashant has got a bundle of energy in his office, Rahul.
More of television, you will see more of television cameras than
घूमो, मौसमी ऑफिस दिखाओ इनका.
In the background, some people there. No, but what is there?
Can you just walk with I just want you to stand with your team. They've been all really pepped up and they've been watching your interview on the TV screen here, as India Today was being played out. And here Prashant Kishore, the master strategist, Rahul.
No, I'm not a master strategist. This is the word I have been
Ghana, you told me there's some dancing and singing going on?
अरे where are all the people who are singing at the back, Maushmi?
Dance and sing. I don't know the dance.
ये सब आपसे डरते हैं.
खेला हो बे.
Go.
Nice.
So here is the Khela with Prashant and his team.
No, I'm good.
Speak to some of these young people. Yeah, Prashant is being too serious. Just go speak to some of these young people.
No, just get them to dance.
It's their big day.
No, they have to dance to Khela ho be. Dance to Khela ho be.
These guys.
Yes, we won. We want Didi to be our CM.
Look at these. Ashmeta Didi.
Mamata di arekbar.
How long? How many months? Continuous work. 2 years. 2 years continuous. No going home. How long have you been working?
Day and night for the past 3-4 months.
Day and night for the past 3-4 months. Let's go that side. I was telling you that how young this entire thing bang is. So since afternoon, Khela Hobe, yes. Singing.
Yes.
Throat a song.
So it's Khala Hobe, Mamata di Arekbar, and we did it. And this is the time for Bengal to ruin it.
Did IPAC do it also?
Sorry?
Did you all do it? Finally conquered.
Yes, finally it's Khala Hobe! Mamata di arekbar! Khala Hobe, we won!
So how tired are you? Are you tired, fatigued?
We didn't tired. We have done 3 election campaign. We are now on. We can go anywhere else.
You can go anywhere else, not tired at all?
No, not at all. We'll be again doing it. It was fun for us.
Yeah, just look at these scenes. People, really egged up and pepped up, excited. That's the scene unfolding here at the IPAC office. Really charged up. Let's get these girls to speak, Shilpi. So everybody has been really excited.
We're just too happy, that's it.
What would you like to... All the girls, tell me, how long have you not seen your family, been here for long?
I've been here since 3 years, so it's been great. Like Khela Hobe.
Now what next?
Let's see, wherever we go. I think we are very excited. Thanks.
So can you have a dance? Can we have a Khela Hobe dance?
Yes.
They've been, ever since the numbers started to roll out, you guys have not stopped, right?
Right, yeah.
Yes, we won.
We conquered.
We came around 10 in the office and we wanted the Didi to win above 200 seats. And we have got that. We won that. We have got that.
So where are you from?
Kolkata only.
So how many hours do you work?
4 months.
Continuous.
Yes, of course. I was in Purva.
Oh, it's an action-packed office. You can see all these youngsters here waving the victory sign. For them, it is an unbelievable victory. Surely they had worked a lot, toiled very hard, and finally they really think that they've done it. So will it be a good break after this? Will you all be taking
Yes, definitely. It'll be a good break.
Are you all from Bengal or elsewhere?
Most of us are from here.
I'm from Kolkata.
Here is how they monitor. You can see they've got this mini laptop, working on the laptop, monitoring the results. A very, very refreshing office with a lot of bunch of youth. The average age perhaps would be somewhere between 20 to 30. None of them look older than that. And perhaps what a victory. India today being watched. On the screens, you can see they watched the interview of the team lead, and now it's actually a battle well won for you all.
Yes, definitely, and we have wanted.
Are you all nervous?
No, because we knew it, because we are going to win it. So we are here right now, and we are happy. So victory for Mamata Banerjee, victory for all of us. Thank you.
So here you are, Rahul, getting this ground report. Absolutely a stunning victory, and the IPAC team that worked backroom for a change came on camera for the India Today. Prashant is missing again. He's gone back to action, perhaps.
Thanks, Maushmi. That was fun walking around the IPAC office. They're redefining in many ways election campaigning and strategy management in India. And now it's not just them. A lot of offshoots, people who've been with IPAC and even others, including those who ran the AIDMK campaign, Sunil and his team, have actually done commendably well, adding substantial value to their protagonists, to their principles, and giving insights of the kind that you don't typically get from a political party. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage through this election day. We're focusing very closely on what's happening. We're trying to ensure that we also keep our eye on what's happening with the COVID numbers and the COVID situation that's playing itself out. Gaurav Sawant is here now. He'll be taking over. I go get some late lunch. But Gaurav, what a fascinating day this has been. The BJP 80 seats, the Trinamool 210 in West Bengal, and in Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan coming back to power once again.
This is absolutely spectacular. Didi doing as well as she was in 2016, 2011 then, and 211 then, 210 right now. The BJP, of course, at 80. We'll get you much more on the story. Rahul, stay on for a bit. This is extremely, extremely interesting. But let's quickly take a look at the headlines on India Today. Didi dominates Bengal again. TMC surges past the 200 mark, puts a break on BJP's juggernaut. Close fight in Nandigram between Mamata Banerjee and Shubhendu Adhikari. Big majority for the DMK in Tamil Nadu. AIA DMK not decimated. NDA ahead of Congress alliance in Puducherry. Left alliance all set to thrash the Congress-led UDF in Kerala. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan to script history by winning a second term. BJP-led NDA takes a big lead in Assam. Heading for a second term, Congress and AIUDF alliance proved no match. Poll panel takes note of victory celebrations amid COVID curbs. Directs chief secretaries to ensure action. Also file FIR and suspend SHOs where COVID norms are flouted. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds a crucial COVID meet. Insiders say the government may incentivize and rope in final year medical and nursing students to join the COVID fight.
Didi dominates life's biggest fight. Didi puts brake on BJP juggernaut. Wheelchair that stopped Modi Sharat. One-woman army against the BJP. Didi does khela shesh to BJP. Mamata set for epic win.
So the BJP is stuck at 80. Mamata Banerjee surges ahead. The Trinamool Congress at 210. Trinamool Congress in 2016 had 211. Didi scripting that spectacular victory for the Trinamool Congress. Truly, khela shesh for everyone else in Bengal. The Congress and the left decimated, down just to one lead. So what are the big takeaways? Let's talk about the big picture in Bengal. Comfortable victory for Mamata Banerjee. Yes, big gains for the BJP, up to 80 from just 3, a gain of 77, but nowhere close to Amit Shah's projection of 200 plus. Congress and the left face extinction in Bengal. So that's the big picture of Bengal, and we'll get you more on Bengal, but let me now take you quickly to Tamil Nadu. Again, shaping up to be a very comfortable victory for the DMK. However, the AIA-DMK not decimated. AIA-DMK is at 92, the DMK at 137, but well above the 117 mark. So no landslide for DMK, but of course some face saver for the Congress that was riding piggyback on the DMK. In Kerala, the big story, it's a historic victory for the LDF, for the left Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, the first to defeat anti-incumbency in 5 decades. The BJP, of course, set to make a nominal mark in Kerala as of now on 1 seat. So Rahul Gandhi's spirited campaign fails spectacularly in Kerala. In Assam, the BJP is set to win a second term with even a larger mandate despite the Congress alliance with the AIUDF. The Congress strength is depleted and was infighting, the reason for this. But let's talk about Bengal, because Bengal is the big election story. Mamata Banerjee on a wheelchair versus Narendra Modi, Amit Shah and the entire BJP election machinery. And it's Mamata Banerjee on a wheelchair who's come out on top. That victory sign, indeed the story of the day. The big message after marathon 8 phases of elections, result clearly give a massive mandate to the Trinamool Congress and Mamata Banerjee. They've managed to demolish BJP's election machinery and form the government for the 3rd term. The counting, of course, of votes is still underway. The TMC is leading in more than 200 seats, 211 at this point of time. Mamata Banerjee has taken control of Nandigram, is what we are now being told. She's doing better than Shubhendu Adhikari. In a while from now, Mamata Banerjee is also to hold a press conference. So BJP now down to 79. That's the latest that's coming in. Trinamool workers were seen celebrating after early trends. Of course, they were in violation of social distancing norms and were advised to go home. The Election Commission also said that they will take action against SHOs where celebrations are being held. SHOs will be suspended. The Election Commission wants FIRs to be lodged against those who are celebrating and violating social distancing norms. Let's listen into reactions that are coming in from Bengal.
3rd time the Chief Minister will be Mamata Banerjee. That is written on the wall of West Bengal and written by the people of West Bengal. You have to be secular to fight against a communal force, and that was done by Trinamool Congress.
Let's start.
Thank you.
Let's start with where Rahul was about to take off, which is that you told him in an interview that if the BJP got more than 100 seats, you would quit this entire political strategy that you do, the political strategy management business. Was that overconfidence, bluster, or did you know something that none of us knew at that moment? What is it that made you so confident that the BJP wouldn't cross 100?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I must tell Rahul and your viewers that I will quit any which way. So I will quit, I will cease to do what I have been doing until now. It's just that I'm glad God has been kind that I'm quitting. I'm able to quit after the victory and after being proven right that BJP will not cross 100.
1 minute. You're saying you're never going to do this again. You will never again advise anyone to. You will never again run or advise anyone for a campaign.
No, I would cease to exist in the form and the manner in which world knows and sees me, and they understand. They call it political strategy, some call it political management, whatever they want to call it. I call myself as a political aid to the leaders who have chosen to work with me. I will cease to exist.
Can I just say, Prashant, maybe this is because you're really tired right now. You've been going crazy with late night flights.
Yes, Prashant.
Rahul, Rahul was so apprehensive that whether I will stay true to what I have been claiming, that if BJP were to cross 100, I will quit this space. He would simply not believe. And I would not find fault with him, but like any other person would not believe. I am telling that even after being proved right, I will cease to do what
Why are you giving this space up?
Now
it's such a big victory. No, why are you giving up this space? Two big victories. You're the man who's shown he has the Midas touch.
Because this is not what I have ever wanted to do all my life. I have done my bit. IPAC has got very able people, my colleagues, the senior colleagues at IPAC. They are far more capable than me. And I'm very confident that they will be able to do a better job than me. I should take a break and try out my hand at something else.
So, karoge kya? Basically, I know your heart is in Bihar politics. Now you're already out of the JDU, so I'm kind of confused. If you want to go back to Bihar politics, you don't have a party which is your base. Karoge kya about?
Rahul, you have to give me some time to think about it. Earlier you said that I will not quit even if BJP will cross 100. Now I'm telling I will quit. Then you are saying what you will do. I will do something. Give me some time. I'll figure it out.
Kuch to aapne socha hoga na. You can't take such a big decision, announce it on TV without having thought this through. So you obviously thought something through. What is it? Tell us.
No, I have been thinking of quitting since long. It's just that I haven't had a good opportunity to quit. So Bengal became
I'll tell you what,
that moment where I said, okay, win or loss, I must quit.
We have been consistently saying, and I've tweeted about it, the big loser today is the Congress party. You must stop this cherry picking. Please tell your IT cell, which you're in charge of, also not to do that. Because to be honest, we have been saying repeatedly for the BJP at one level, it's a huge jump in Bengal. But at another level, it's a setback from the Lok Sabha. And that's also because you set this target of Abki Baar 200 par. You virtually wrote, there was a sense of euphoria that the BJP tried to create. You tried to shape the narrative as if you were conquering Bengal. That's why you've gone, that's why these questions are being asked. Why not concede that? Be a little humble in defeat. Forget the Congress. They have lost. They are the worst losers today. Concede it.
Actually, Rajdeep, anybody watching this show will realize that I am the more humble one and you are the one who's gloating. But that's something that you're entitled to, because clearly the BJP isn't doing well, so you have all the right to gloat about it.
Very unfair.
But let me come to the most substantive point that you raised.
Unfair.
Yeah, of course. I mean, being unfair is not a one-way street, right?
Okay.
If you are unfair to me, I can give it back to you as good. But let me come to the more substantive point here.
Yes.
Again, I'm repeating myself. You have to set yourself higher targets.
Sure.
You have to give hope to people. You have to tell people that you are here and you staked everything that you had. And that is how you win elections, and that is how you win the confidence of the people. You don't go by setting lower targets. And if people did not believe in our targets, they would not be unnerved. Mamata Banerjee ran the most vicious and negative campaign throughout because she wasn't sure of her prospects and her party's prospects. And that is the reality. Every journalist, including you, who visited West Bengal, would privately tell us that we are winning. Naturally, you also thought that we were doing well. Now that the elections have gone the other way around, you can ask me these questions and I have to answer to you, the points that you make to me. But the reality is that we were and we still are in contention in the state of West Bengal. Till the last seat is counted and the EVMs are closed, the election is not over.
And India Today's Paulami Saha now joins me from outside the BJP headquarters. Anupam Mishra joins us from Mamata Banerjee's residence. Paulami, as far as the BJP headquarters is concerned, it must be rather damp and gloomy at this point of time. Celebrations at Mamata Banerjee's residence. We'll come there in just a moment. But, you know, the point, Paulami, that Prashant Kishore was making, BJP was taking TMC's rotten eggs, who were a liability for the Trinamool Congress. BJP thought it was a big gain. It ultimately turned out to be a big gain for the TMC, as these results show. Paulami. Okay, I'll come to her in just a moment. And for the latest breaking news coming in, it's a cliffhanger in Nandigram. The final round of counting has begun in battleground Nandigram in Bengal. And as of now, even as we speak, Mamata Banerjee is leading by 820 votes in the final round. Anupam Mishra joins me for more on this, and this truly is a cliffhanger. Nandigram contest, 820 votes. Mamata Banerjee leading as of now. In the first few rounds, she was initially trailing by about 3,000 votes, then at one point of time by about 8,000 votes, then leading by 16 votes, and this is the final round. And in this final round, Mamata Banerjee leading by 820 votes, and Mamata Banerjee able to make that point. She's won Bengal 212, doing extremely well overall. And also at Nandigram, she wanted to send out a very strong message. A decade ago, it started with Nandigram, and a decade later with Nandigram, she comes back with a thumping majority. Anupam, Mamata Banerjee's instincts seem to have worked absolutely right down to the last vote, if we were to say, with this cliffhanger. Anupam. Okay, let me take a moment. We'll set that audio link right with Anupam in just a moment, because Mamata Banerjee is also set to address a press conference, and she is waiting for this last round of counting that's currently on at Nandigram. So we are now being told that in a short while from now, Mamata Banerjee will have a press conference. But before that, I want to cut across to Paulami Saha, who's at the BJP headquarters. And BJP, of course, will analyze reasons, though they've done well from 3 seats to 78 seats, but nowhere close to what Amit Shah was insisting would be the tally of 200, Paulami.
Oh, absolutely. This has been a huge blow for the Bharatiya Janata Party and its election campaign in West Bengal. Obviously, like you said, it's been quite a ride for the party from 3 in 2016 to about 78 as the trends stand at the moment in 2021. But given the sort of campaign, the kind of claims which were made by, of course, the party leadership, Mr. Amit Shah himself, claiming that the party was going to cross the 200 mark as well, even at their most conservative estimates as the polling commenced and into the 4th and the 5th phase, they did bring it down to about 160, 170 is what we were being told unofficially. But they did not think that this is the sort of drubbing that the party is going to receive at the hands of the Trinamool Congress in this election. They've virtually not been able to shake the ground from beneath the Trinamool's feet in this election. 211 for the Trinamool in 2016. It's not going to be much of a dent when the final figure and the final tally is out for the TMC. At the moment, of course, the cliffhanger is in Nandigram as the 17th round of counting is underway, which is the final round of counting. And at last count, after the 16th round, Shubhendu Adhikari led by merely 6 votes over his opponent, Mamata Banerjee. We're waiting to find out what is the tally after the 17th round of counting and the postal ballot figure. We're yet to find out from the Nandigram seats. So eventually, eventually what is the margin of victory for either candidate. We're waiting to find out, but it should be clear in some time from now, after which we're likely to hear from the West Bengal Chief Minister, Gaurav.
You know what's very interesting, Polami, before I bring in Anupam once again, and there's a lot of information that's coming in, Prashant Kishore's analysis. So when Trinamool Congress leaders were quitting the TMC, and BJP was saying it's a big victory and TMC is splitting, TMC is collapsing, Prashant Kishore says it's only the rotten eggs. His language, his conversation with Rahul Kanwal and Rajdeep Sardesai, he says rotten eggs were leaving and BJP was collecting garbage. When you look at these election results and trends, Prashant Kishore and Mamata Banerjee ultimately proven right.
Well, they definitely are having the last laugh. And as far as Prashant Kishore is concerned, Gaurav, this is exactly the position that he held previously as well when the en masse exodus was happening. It seemed like so from the Trinamool Congress to the Bharatiya Janata Party in the month of December when Shubhendu Adhikari jumped ship and joined the BJP. And then, of course, Rajiv Banerjee, Prabir Ghoshal, many others, Baishali Dalmia, many others who joined the Bharatiya Janata Party in January and, of course, in February as well. When I spoke to him then, this was his exact same position. We don't care for these turncoats. We don't care for their leaving. It's not going to be much of a dent for the party. We're absolutely fine. These are the people who, of course, anticipated they're not going to get tickets, had a lot of allegations. We had done our investigation. IPAC, of course, had done a lot of surveys on the various MLAs of the Trinamool on the ground in order to get feedback about them, about their work from their constituents, eventually then deciding whether they need to put up fresh candidates or whether they can be given a ticket again.
Before I bring in Anupam, there's breaking news coming in. Okay, this is the Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. He's tweeted a message congratulating Mamata Banerjee on the party's spectacular victory in Bengal. Rajnath Singh has tweeted, "Congratulations to the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee. Didi on a party's spectacular victory in West Bengal Assembly elections. My best wishes to her for her next tenure." He's of course also congratulated Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan on his party's victory in Kerala Assembly elections. We'll come to that in just a moment. But Rajnath Singh congratulating Mamata Banerjee. Anupam, just this last round of counting, and then Mamata Banerjee will have her press conference and she has reason to be very, very happy. It's a very hard-fought victory for the Trinamool Congress, and as some would argue, against all odds, against very, very powerful election machinery, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, the Home Minister Amit Shah, the entire BJP leadership put in their all.
Absolutely, Gaurav. The entire machinery from BJP was against Mamata Banerjee, and this is a huge, massive, magnificent victory by Mamata Banerjee. But Mamata Banerjee, right now, we can show the Mamata Banerjee's face. After you can see, this is the first time Mamata Banerjee has come out from her residence, and this is the virtual. This is the scene from the just the camera. They have put a giant screen and. What we are seeing at present is Mamata Banerjee just roaming around in front of her residence at 30B Sharad Chatterjee Street, and she has just gone inside. And this is the first time we have seen her today. And this is the giant screen where she will brief all the persons here. Gaurav.
Okay. So we'll just wait for Mamata Banerjee to come out, and already a large number of people are assembling, despite the fact that the Election Commission is asking people to follow COVID-appropriate behavior. I can see some people wearing a mask, some others have it around their chin. Anupam, are COVID norms being followed where you are?
Actually, this is extremely unfortunate. The way COVID is stepping up, rising in West Bengal, COVID norms are not being followed. What we have seen outside Mamata Banerjee's residence, and the people who have gathered to rejoice the victory, some of them are wearing masks, but most of them are not wearing masks. And in fact, the persons who are wearing masks is not properly wear, and the social distancing is not followed entirely outside the residence of Mamata Banerjee. And it's the rejoiced TMC workers who have gathered outside Mamata Banerjee residence, and Mamata Banerjee have just come out from her residence, and she will brief media in few minutes as she was waiting for the Nandigram results, and the Nandigram results are just here to come. And what we are hearing that Mamata Banerjee will address in few minutes as the 17th round, the last round of counting is going on, and the last final announcement are due in few minutes, few moments.
Oh, absolutely. And at this point of time, what worked? What's the buzz within the Trinamool Congress? What worked? Was it Mamata Banerjee on a wheelchair? Was it Mamata Banerjee playing on Bengali pride? Because a lot of people are saying that it became Bengal versus outsiders, and that seemed to have clicked with the voters.
Gaurav, what we have seen a few minutes back, Mamata Banerjee was roaming around, and she was not on wheelchair. That was the first thing what we have seen after her leg was injured in Nandigram. So this is the first time Mamata Banerjee standing in front of her leg, and she told few days back that she is good, her leg is fine, and she's waiting to cut the plaster. And right now, what we have just seen that a glimpse of Mamata Banerjee. She's walking, so she's not on a wheelchair. What we have seen her campaigning throughout the Bengal election for about 1 month.
Okay, of course, in the coming days and weeks, there will be a lot of analysis, whether it was the women voters, whether it was Congress and the left collapsing completely, whether it was people across Bengal who've actually, except, some pockets of North, is that the reason why Mamata Banerjee has done so spectacularly well in Bengal, even better than 2016? So Mamata Banerjee will be here in just moments from now. And Polami, if I could quickly bring you in, what didn't work for the BJP despite all their efforts, despite so much? Did they realize that, of course, they've come from 3 to 78, but they still need to work hard on ground to be able to make inroads in other areas? Was it BJP did well, but they thought that Congress and the left would not collapse the manner in which they did, follow me?
Well, Gaurav, this is definitely literally the one question that we've been asking the BJP leaders as we've been speaking to them through this morning, especially when it became very clear that the gap between the two parties was too much for now the BJP to catch up and, in fact, secure a victory for themselves. And what they've been saying is, of course, officially they want to, sit back and do an analysis, but a lot of miscalculation which happened in terms of gauging, of course, the sentiment on the ground, the fact that the campaign against the Trinamool Congress in terms of the cut money campaign, in terms of corruption in Amphan funds being allocated, all of that would create a lot of anger in the people in a way that it will lead to a massive anti-incumbency wave against the incumbent chief minister. That is something that they were banking on heavily. That did not happen. The polarization plank did not work on the ground because eventually, Gaurav, the kind of victory which has been registered by the TMC, you cannot simply say that it was the consolidation of the Muslim vote bank, which is, of course, they were hoping, the BJP was hoping that the left and the Congress would dent that vote bank in some way and take away a little from it so that the TMC did not have much of that vote bank to back it, 30% of the population here in West Bengal. But that happened. Then, of course, the women voters, we will, of course, have to go down to the books and find out how many of those women voters, in fact, went and voted for the Trinamool Congress. It's easily in our Axis poll, Gaurav, we predicted that the margin of difference would be 2% of women voters more in favor of the Trinamool Congress. But the gap is at least likely to be, and the BJP has conceded this to us unofficially, it's likely to be at least 4 to 5%. So it's more than that. And then the Hindu vote bank as well. So the polarization plan did not work on the ground. So a lot of factors, and of course their candidates, Gaurav, we cannot forget that there was a lot of disenchantment on the ground. The party workers, the cadres were not very happy. They felt that why are TMC turncoats being brought into the party when we've built the party grassroots upwards to bring it to a formidable position in 2021 where it becomes the primary challenger to the incumbent government.
We will talk about this in greater detail, and we'll just come back to Bengal when Mamata Banerjee does that press conference. But for the moment, I want to quickly cut across to Assam, where the BJP is returning to power. The BJP is set to storm back to power in Assam with a bigger mandate than earlier. The BJP is comfortably placed in trends that are showing it's surged past the halfway mark. The opposition Congress is trailing despite that alliance with Badruddin Ajmal's AIUDF, which again doesn't seem to have worked in the manner in which it was expected to work. The poll this time in the state were held amidst this massive debate over the NRC, or the National Register of Citizens. Amit Shah, of course, promised that it will be enforced once BJP returns to power. That's what he was saying. The BJP, along with allies, leading on 86 seats of 126-member Assam Assembly. As of now, of course, BJP leading in 77. BJP and allies, 48 is the number for the Congress and allies in the 126-member Assembly. But let's look at reactions that are coming in.
जनता ने जैसे हमें आशीर्वाद दिया है उसी हिसाब से निश्चित हो गया कि बीजेपी की सरकार बनेगी। हमारे एलजेपी और यूपीपीएल का साथ हम सरकार बनाएंगे, ये स्पष्ट है। और सब जनता की जो आशीर्वाद सहयोग इसके वजह से हुआ है, तो अभी तो इंतजार करना पड़ेगा आखिरी गिनती तक।
So the reasons for BJP's spectacular victory in Assam. Now, Hemant Biswa Sarma, BJP's man, not just of course in Assam but across the northeast now, his organization work, that seemed to have played a very, very big role in BJP's spectacular victory, because he saw a campaign which of course had high resonance to actually make an impact. Now, what about the Congress leadership? Where was the Congress leadership news coming in from Bengal, and this was the story that we were waiting for just moments ago, because the news has now come in. Mamata Banerjee has won Nandigram and Bengal. Mamata Banerjee has won Nandigram with a margin of 1,200 votes. A close victory, but a victory all the same. This was a very, very hard-fought battle with Shubhendu Adhikari, and this was a prestige battle. Prestige battle for Mamata Banerjee and for Shubhendu Adhikari. But this is the icing on the cake for Mamata Banerjee. 212 seats. The Trinamool Congress is leading in Bengal, and Mamata Banerjee has won Nandigram. She chose Nandigram to send across a message, and that message, Anupam Mishra, has been sent across. She began her journey 10 years ago in that big Shingur fight with Nandigram, and she wanted to send home that message that she will defeat Shubhendu Adhikari, and in Nandigram she's done that, even though it's a hard-fought and a close battle. Anupam, as you wait for this press conference of Mamata Banerjee, how is the news of her victory being received at her residence?
In fact, fact, it's a very close fight, and Mamata Banerjee at last finally won. And the moment she won, the news came outside the residence of Mamata Banerjee. The workers gathered outside the residence of Mamata Banerjee were just cheering the victory which they were expecting from Mamata Banerjee, and it is indeed a victory, whether it's by 1,200 votes or by any other margin. So everyone is happy around here, and we are just waiting for Mamata Banerjee. She has just left her residence and just entered her office. That is by, and we have got the visuals that she was walking from her residence to her office, and that is what we can say, that she will announce her victory from any moment from now, and we are just waiting that Mamata Banerjee will address the whole nation and especially the people of Bengal.
Okay. Of course, a hard-fought victory and a very close victory. But this again shows that Mamata Banerjee knew she had to focus on Nandigram before that election. And Paulami Saha, you were on ground reporting at that point of time. And before I bring in Paulami, Anupam, Mamata Banerjee knew she had to concentrate on Nandigram. So while she focused on Bengal overall, she focused on winning Nandigram. And perhaps once again, it's the women voters who turned out in large numbers. The fact that she went in the evenings and interacted with those women, is that the result? Though close, she has pulled it off.
In fact, Mamata Banerjee, if we look back the previous results in 2016 and in 2011, the women voters were very decisive and were the factors for Mamata Banerjee. And this time also around 50% voters were women voters. And what the results are showing that women voters are very decisive and they like Mamata Banerjee, what we have seen from previous results. So Muslim voters and women voters, these are the two factors behind this victory of Mamata Banerjee.
Okay, we'll come back to these images of celebration. Sincerely hope that COVID-appropriate behavior is followed. The Election Commission insisted it should be, but now that Mamata Banerjee is back, perhaps she will tell her supporters, her cadre, her people that it's a tough battle ahead against COVID-19. Of course, a very tough battle has been won, but there still is a battle against COVID-19 ahead, which the entire nation needs to fight. And COVID-appropriate behavior is the only way we can win that war. A quick break. On the other side, we will take you to battleground Tamil Nadu. We'll, of course, come back to Mamata Banerjee's press conference, but a quick break. Back with lots more. Keep watching India Today.
Remember, do mask on before you move on. Don't forget.
In the current situation, there's a great deal of demand for drugs like remdesivir, azithromycin and tocilizumab. And the desperate need has led to a flourishing black market and also a market for fake drugs, especially for remdesivir injections. The police in a handful of states has busted such rackets selling these fake drugs, especially remdesivir injections. Here is how you can identify a fake remdesivir from a real one. First of all, fake remdesivir branding is one way that you can identify. The real remdesivir drug has RX written next to the name of the drug, unlike the fake one. Some fake remdesivirs that have been identified do not have RX written next to the name of the drug on the package in the fake ones. There are several typographical errors. For example, the genuine package reads as 100 mg for a vial, while one on the fake one going round has 100 mg for a vial written on it. V for vial is in small caps in the fake one. There are quite a few capitalization errors that have been found in the fake drugs. For using written on the genuine package becomes for using on the fake drug package. F for 4 is in big caps in the real one. There is another capitalization error in the text identifying the drug maker, Hetero Labs. The fake remdesivir package reads India as in small I. There is also a spelling error in the fake remdesivir injections that are being now found in the market. The spelling error is of the state name Telangana. You can also look for alignment errors in the fake remdesivir package, which is going to help you identify that this indeed is not the genuine one. Some of these fake products have alignment error in the brand name of the product. Look at the gap on the package of this fake and the genuine remdesivir injection. The fake vial has more gap. The genuine remdesivir packages have warning written in red. The fake ones have warning written in black. Just before the warning label, key information, which is Covifort, and that's the brand name, is manufactured under the license from Gilead Sciences INC, is missing on the fake injection package.
That's a wrap from me. Keep watching
India Today.
And just a reminder,
Do mask on
before you move on. Do mask on before you move on.
mask on before you move on.
Remember, do mask on before you move on. Don't forget.
Remember, do mask on Remember, do mask on before you move on. Don't forget.
Now we do the seated chest lift. This may look like a very simple asana, but in fact, it's very powerful. What we're trying to do here is that we're trying to open up our lungs and our chest to take in as much oxygen as we can. Remember, oxygen is the fuel of our lives, and the deeper we breathe in, the more refreshed and rejuvenated we will feel. Sit in any comfortable seated